Okay, so today we're going to explore 3 different solid editing commands. So I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle here. I'll put this in my border layer so you can see it.
We also need a cell phone.
I'm just going to put a second rectangle next to it there. So I've got 2 rectangles side by side. Nathan.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you. So I'm going to extrude both of these. And I'll just go a foot up here. So we can see I have 2 separate solid objects here, right? We can select them separately. And we can also see where they are separated in the middle here if I were to this way. So we see our 2 separate boxes here. So the first command is how to take separate solid objects and put them together or join them together to be one object. So you can either run the object, run the command, and then select the objects, or you can select the objects in advance and run the command. But we're going to go to Modify, down to 3D Operations. And a lot of these we've already discussed, 3D Move, 3D Rotate. These we'll cover later. Underneath here, Solid Editing, we have Union, Subtract, and Intersect. So our first one is Union, and that's what's going to take our objects and mush them together. That didn't work at all. Let's try to see it. So the command is Union, selecting my objects, hitting Enter. There we go. And you'll see now that seam that I had between the 2 is gone, and now when I select it, it selects the entire object. Question?
Do they have to be the same color?
No. But they should eventually merge to the same color.
Yeah.
All right, next command is subtract. So let's say I were to draw a sphere. And I'll copy this from here as well. Let's pick a different style here. Okay, so here I have a block, and I've just added 2 spheres, and the spheres intersect or go into my box here. And what I want to do is I want to subtract the shape of this sphere, these 2 spheres, from my object. So I just kind of have these round edges here that are subtracted away. So again, we're going to go to our Modify, 3 Solid Editing commands, and run the subtract. And the first thing that it's going to ask me to do is to select the original object. So this is the object that we'll be subtracting from. So I'm going to select my box, and I'm done selecting, so I'll hit Enter. And then now it'll ask me to select the objects that I want to subtract. So I'm going to select my 2 spheres here, hit Enter, and you'll notice now I have my object, and then the 2 spheres have been subtracted from it. So before, like if we wanted to do holes through things, we just do press pull. Theoretically, we could also draw cylinders through objects and then subtract the cylinders to give us the same effect.
Wait, do you select, for subtract, you select like the cube first?
Yeah, so I subtract it. You do your object that you'll be subtracting from first.
Yeah.
And then when you're done selecting all of those, you hit enter. then you select the objects that you want to take away.
Ah,
It's an excellent question, Josh. So I'm just going to orbit this slightly. Go to the other side here. And next I'm going to draw a cylinder. So here I've drawn a cylinder, and the cylinder covers up the area that we just created with our spheres here. And if I go to perhaps a X-ray view here, you might be able to see this a little bit better. So I have my sphere here, my object here, and then there's just this area here where the two objects intersect or overlap. And so our next command, so modify, solid editing, and then intersect. Here you just select a bunch of objects. I'm going to select these two objects. And then when I hit enter, it's only going to keep the areas where these two objects intersect. So the areas where, I guess we'll call it the mass of both objects are common. We'll enter there. And then now you see we have this weird shape. So we've got our original object, and then we have this round edge where the sphere edge was, and the two areas that intersect. So today's assignment, and feel free to get creative with this, but I want you just to demonstrate a couple different examples of these three commands. So union, which is taking multiple three-dimensional objects and turning them into one object. Subtract, subtracting three-dimensional objects from other three-dimensional objects. And then intersect, only keeping the areas where multiple objects have in common, or overlapping or intersecting. Any questions on any of these three commands? Very good.